You could be at home, on your sofa, kettle on, biscuits nearby, telly on, warm, comfortable. Or you could get on a plane, fly for hours, then drive north until you run out of road. Why? To sleep in a tent in the snow with blokes chasing after big hairy deer. They call it an experience. Finding yourself, getting back to nature. I know where I am, usually in the living room, wondering if I've got any Watsits left. I don't need to freeze my nose off to have a think. But Suzanne, my girlfriend, saw it in a magazine. "Carl, it'll be an adventure," she said. Adventure? More like sitting around in the cold. The photos always show people smiling, beards full of ice, looking like they're loving it. But they don't show you the bit where you're trying to have a wee at 3 a.m., worried it'll freeze on the way out. Or the boredom. Endless snow. For what? To say you've done it. It's like a competition for who can be the most uncomfortable. Against my better judgment, I agreed. Packed my thermal vests, said goodbye to central heating, off to Finland to hang about with reindeer herders. The travel agent called it a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to witness an ancient way of life. All I could think was, if it's so ancient, why haven't they invented sheds and radiators yet? But no. They're still out there, wandering about in the slush. And now, so was I. The plane journey was bad enough. Sat next to a bloke with all the gear, showing me photos of other freezing places he'd been. "You'll love it, the air is so pure," he kept saying. "Air's air, isn't it? As long as it doesn't smell, I'm happy we landed." Just white, everywhere. The cold smacks you in the face proper, angry cold into a van, driving for what felt like a week. The driver just pointed, "Forest, more snow, more trees." The further we went, the less there was. No shops, no pubs, no chippy, just nothing. Eventually, the van stopped. "We are here," he said. It looked exactly like the last 100 miles I got out. The silence buzzed in your ears. This was it, the start of my grand adventure. I already wanted to go home. I hadn't even met a reindeer yet, and I was already fed up. The pure air was starting to get on my nerves. No welcome, no excitement, just snow and silence. I wondered what people actually do out here. Maybe you just get used to the nothingness. I suppose you save money, nowhere to spend it. But it's a pretty big cloud of nothingness. I stood there, suitcase in hand, thinking, what have I done? And the adventure hadn't even started. Out of the trees, a couple of blokes on snowmobiles turned up big beards, weathered faces, clothes like old carpets. No hello, just a grunt and a nod. Jari and, let's call the other one Steve. They were the reindeer herders, the experts. They looked bored. I was just another bit of luggage. Jari pointed at a tent. "Your tent," then at a pile of wood. "Firewood. My job, don't freeze to death, no welcome speech, no health and safety, just a grunt and a point." Their daily routine, stand around, stare into the distance, drink ancient coffee, then suddenly zoom off on snowmobiles. I was left wondering what was going on. Was it a reindeer emergency? Did they leave the oven on? They barely spoke. Just nods and hand gestures like a married couple who've run out of things to say. I tried to make conversation. "So, many reindeer then?" Jari just sipped his coffee. "Enough. End of chat." I started to think this whole trip was going to be a long, quiet, and very cold week. The oddest thing was how little they cared I was there. Reindeer probably don't ask a lot of questions. I was just another thing to put up with. Brilliant. A typical day started before the sun was up, not that you could tell, it barely bothered to rise. Jari would shake my tent until I woke up. No, good morning, just a violent shake. Out into the cold, getting snowmobiles ready, lots of pulling cords and Finnish swearing. My job? Try not to get in the way. The main task? Find the reindeer. You'd think it'd be easy. They're massive, with antlers. But they're experts at hiding. Hours on snowmobiles, freezing, looking for tracks, all to find a deer that doesn't want to be found. When we did find them, chaos. Jari and Steve yelling, waving arms, reindeer looking bored. Herding them was like herding cats if cats were massive, had antlers, and could do you damage. The whole process seemed pointless. Why not just build a big fence? After hours, we'd stop for a break fire, ancient coffee, dried meat that tasted like a leather shoe. Sit on a log in silence, staring at the fire. Peaceful, but also pointless. We'd just spent 4 hours chasing animals from one bit of snow to another, and tomorrow, we'd do it all again. It's not a career, is it? Just a long, cold hobby. I started to miss my sofa. The sleeping arrangements, a traditional lavu, basically a pointy tent. In the middle, a little wood-burning stove, the height of luxury apparently. Problem is, you have to keep feeding it wood all night. Fall asleep, fire goes out, you wake up frozen. Getting into your sleeping bag is an ordeal. 17 layers, wriggling in like a clumsy caterpillar. It's never warm, just less cold than outside. You lie there listening to the wind, thinking about your nice warm bed at home, the noises, rustling, creaking. Is it a bear? A moose? Jari coming to shake the tent again? Your mind plays tricks. Every snap of a twig sounds like a monster. I spent most of the first night wide awake, convinced a wolverine was chewing through the tent. Then, there's the toilet situation. There isn't one. The whole country is the toilet. Find a tree, be quick. Not an experience you want to linger over. All this talk about getting back to basics. This is as basic as it gets. Frankly, I'd rather have a flushing toilet and a bit of privacy. Some bits of modern life are just better. There's no two ways about it. I miss my bathroom more than anything. The food. When you're this cold, you think about food a lot. Hot pies, curry, a Sunday roast. What you get is reindeer. Reindeer for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's not bad, just a bit much. After a few days, you start to feel guilty. Chasing them all day, then eating one of their mates. The main dish reindeer stew, hot, which is its main selling point. Sometimes a potato if you're lucky, but always the same. Jari loved it. 3 bowls. I forced down one, dreaming of a cheese and onion pasty. The bread, flat, dry like a cracker, but less exciting. Sucks all the moisture out of your mouth. They eat it with everything. It's just texture. The texture of cardboard. I suppose it doesn't go off, which is handy out here, but you'd think they'd have invented something more interesting by now. Makes you appreciate supermarkets, the choice. You can buy a pineapple or a tub of ice cream. Out here it's stew or more stew. People go on about organic food and eating locally. Well, this is as local as it gets. Honestly, I'll take a frozen pizza from Iceland any day. At least it's got a bit of variety. The whole thing makes you miss the little things, like a proper meal or just a bag of crisps. The reindeer, the reason we're all here, on Christmas cards and films pulling Santa's sleigh. You expect them to be magical, but up close they're just big, hairy animals with daft expressions. Massive antlers, weird clicking noise when they walk. Not festive, just unnerving. They're not friendly, not like a dog. Wild animals, completely indifferent to you. You spend all this time to be near them and they couldn't care less. It's a bit of an anti-climax. You expect a connection with nature, but nature isn't bothered about you. The herders see them as livestock, a business. They know each one apparently, but they all look the same to me. Jari would point at one, say something in Finnish. Steve would nod, probably discussing its market value. Takes the magic out of it when you realize it's all about money. I don't get the appeal. They're not majestic like horses or interesting like monkeys. They're just there. Dopey, smelly, and the basis of this whole ancient way of life. Makes you wonder, are pyramids just a pile of rocks? Is the Great Wall just a long fence? Maybe we build these things up in our heads. Maybe a reindeer is just a deer, and that's it. It's a bit disappointing really, not exactly the stuff of legends. This is what gets me, people who do this for fun. Adventure seekers, explorers. What are you exploring? It's all been found. There are maps. You can see it on Google Earth. You're not discovering anything. You're just paying to be cold and uncomfortable. Some people collect stamps, others collect miserable experiences. The bloke on the plane was one of them. Already planning his next trip, walking across a desert. Why? It's just sand. Maximum effort for minimum reward. It's like they're trying to prove something, but what's the point? No one cares. Your mates are down the pub, having a nice time. It's all for the story. So, you can go back to work and say you wrestled a reindeer and drank coffee made from snow. Makes you seem interesting for 5 minutes. But is it worth it? The frostbite, the bad food, the boredom? I could just make up a story. Tell people I went to the moon. Cheaper, warmer, no one would know. You see people climbing mountains looking knackered at the top. Why not just look at a picture? Same view. This need to conquer nature is weird. Nature always wins. It's bigger than you and it's got more patience. All this adventure stuff just seems like a waste of a good holiday. I'd rather be on my sofa, with a cup of tea. So, what did I learn from my week in the Arctic Circle? Did I find myself? No. I was in a tent near the Russian border, that's where I was. Did I have a spiritual awakening? No. I had a cold and wanted a bacon buddy. I didn't come back a new man, just with a greater appreciation for central heating and indoor plumbing. You don't know what you've got till it's gone. I learned reindeer aren't that interesting, snow gets boring fast, and you can survive on stew and dry bread, but you won't enjoy it. Silence is overrated. I like the hum of the fridge, the sound of traffic. The wilderness isn't peaceful, it's just empty. The authentic experience is a bit of a con. You're not living like a herder, you're a tourist. Jari and Steve, this is their life. They're not doing it for a story. Would I recommend it? Not really, unless you want to be cold and hungry. If you want an adventure, try finding a parking space at the Trafford Center on a Saturday. This was just sitting around in the snow. I got home, put the kettle on, sat on the sofa, and thought, this is the life. Sometimes, you have to go somewhere awful to realize how good you've got it at home.